Rob, we brought it up with Joshua Perry, the 12-team playoff. You don't like it. I love it. Explain yourself.
It's real simple. There's just not enough good teams to compete honestly for a championship. That's my only argument. If you really had 12 really great schools that we're going to watch and they really had a shot at winning it, I just think it's a money grab. That's all it is. There'll be some bad games. We'll turn them off like we have. We've done nothing but watch, even in the 4-team format, Chris, have so many games decided by more than 10 points where they're not even, that entertaining. So I just think that this is just another one of those where it won't be entertaining enough for me. That's all. I'm all for if people really have a shot at winning, then I'm all for it. I just think it'll wind up where if it's a bye for the best schools, it'll wind up the first rounds or whatever won't be that entertaining. We see it sometimes in other sports, the NBA with the play-in.
If it's a bye for them, it could be good.
Well, I'm just
if the top 4 have a bye, then you got the 5th seed versus the 12th seed.
Yeah, but they might not
be good.
Yeah, but they might not be that good either. I'm just saying, and we just gave you the example of Utah that lost 3 games. And they were ranked 11th, so they would be in that play-in, that playoff. And I just wonder if you lose 3 college football games, should you really be in the mix for a championship? That's just me. It's about the entertainment part of it that
I was gonna say because I know you don't think there's 68 teams that can win the NCAA tournament.
No,
but we got 68 in it.
Yeah, but I would gladly a one game. College basketball is a little different than college football, in that somebody can have a bad night or somebody can make a shot. I just don't see that often in college football where schools upset the best schools. I think you could have that every so often. But even in the NCAA, Chris, 16 beating a 1 has happened, I believe, Rob G, one time.
Yeah, I think one.
That's
Virginia
it.
Lost.
Yeah, one time. That even in that case, it tells you.
That's where my point is, they still, even though 68 teams can't win the national championship, you still have that many teams in the tournament, and it's still entertaining. And my thing is, to the point
was Michigan entertaining last year? I'm just curious. Michigan.
No, that game wasn't.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean games won't ever be entertaining.
I just asked you about
because,
Michigan.
To your point, following your logic, 5 of the 8 college football playoff championship games, Rob, have been decided by 15 or more points. The last 4 have been decided by 15 or more points. So should we just say, you know what? There aren't 2 teams. We don't even need a championship. Let's go back to the mythical rankings. Those games were blowouts. So should we just scrap the whole system go back to the mythical champion?
But we know that those are still the best schools. But
there's only one, apparently. There's one that can compete.
No, because the same. Does Alabama won every year? They haven't won every year, so it would be different.
Whoever wins it blows the opponent out at least 5 of the last 8 years and 4 straight.
Maybe that's because they take a month off between playing.
Well, I hear you on that.
I think that if you're asking kids who haven't played, Chris, you played tackle football.
I totally agree with you on that.
Okay, that's why. That's why.
You're a different team after 55 days off.
Absolutely. And there's one school that's ready, Chris, and the other school that's gotten pillow soft with the 55 days off.
But
that's why that is.
Well, I don't think that's why. I agree with you that that's a ridiculous amount of time to have off, but I don't think that's an explanation for the blowouts. My point is, because here's the deal, and Rob, we've talked about this before. When you and I grew up, the bowl games mattered. Not every single one, right? Because you got the early bowl games that nobody really cares about except the schools that are in it. But certainly the New Year's Day bowl games, and it will be 5, 7 of them on, right? Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, all that, et cetera, et cetera. Those mattered. Now, those don't even matter. The only ones that matter are the 3 playoff games, the 2 semifinals and the one championship. And I'm saying, let's make some of those. I like the idea, if this is where they're going to go, make some of those bowl games the playoffs. And I think they'll mean more. Now, you have blowouts, but hey, you'll have close games. You'll have barn burners as well. So I think it's a great thing. I think, if a team loses 3 games and they make it, okay. I mean, in the NFL, Rob, we've had wild card teams win the Super Bowl. It doesn't diminish their accomplishment. Here's the argument that I've heard that I do think is pretty good, is that college football is the regular season in college football means more than any other sport or, group of any other organization, NFL, NBA, baseball. It means a ton because if you lose 2 games, you're out of the championship hunt. But the regular season will still be of the utmost importance. You're not going to be able to go out there and just have a bad regular season. And football, by the nature of the sport, in that they only play a handful of games, that makes every game meaningful. And so I love it. If players are concerned about playing too many games, I would say the NCAA should cut some of those early cupcake games. And if you want to make it so the kids can't play more than 14 games in a year or 13 or whatever, I'd be all for that. But I just love the idea of a playoff. I think it makes it more exciting.
If I was a player and I was in one of those lower-ranked schools and really didn't have a shot to win a national championship and you're just there for fodder, I would really question whether or not I would play in that game. And that'll be interesting just to see how it plays out and if guys start skipping it, because guys have already skipped those bowl games in those situations. He talked about the player from Michigan, Butts. Remember who got hurt, Chris? That was a big deal, and people were like, why are you playing in that? And he played anyway, and it wound up hurting him and his career. So that's something that I couldn't be mad at.
That can always be a factor. I mean, what if a player has already established himself going into, say, his junior year as a top draft pick? I mean, he could sit out the whole season, or you could play a few games and then sit out the rest. I mean, because to your point, it is all about getting to the NFL. But I think with something on the line, and as you said, I played, whether it was football, basketball, whatever, and I played on some teams that weren't great, but if you, when you're in the playoffs, or when you feel, especially if you're one of the top 12 teams in the country, I'm sorry, I don't think many players at a top 12 program are going into a game thinking we got no chance. I don't think guys are built that way, because when I went into games and as far worse underdogs, I still felt like we got a shot.
But you weren't playing for a future and a livelihood and millions of dollars. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish.
Well, the money,
I get that.
I hear you.
I get you. Like, you're playing what were you, Division 2 or 3? Like,
Division 3 basketball.
You're gonna play, of course. I mean, you're not looking at it like that.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the risk. I'm talking about your assertion that if I'm the 12th seed and I think we're there for fodder, I don't think a 12 seed is going to think they're there for fodder. I think they're going to think, man, we can win this thing.
I'm talking about if you have a chance to go to the pros. That's what I'm talking about.
But most of the kids that sit those games out, they're sitting out the bowl games, that aren't the national championship.
Yeah, but that's not a national
championship. That's different.
There will be bowl games leading up to that. It ain't the national championship.
But that's gonna mean, like, you're saying if you're the 12th seed and you got to play 2 games, you got to play 2 games to get to the 2 or 3 games to get to the national championship. You might not play the first 2. You might not. Why not? Because I don't think we got a chance.
No, because I might get hurt. It's not worth it.
Why wouldn't that be the case in early October?
No,
I mean really,
you
why
got,
would I play more than a few games
because you
at
would
all?
because you would play that. The last thing you would want to do is get to the finish line and get hurt. You're not going to say, "Well, I'm not going to play the entire season because I'm going to the NFL." You're still
Why
trying.
not? If you're already a blue chip recruit, and everybody knows you're going to the NFL,
you still have to play those games because you're not there yet. You're not a blue.
But see, everybody knows Bryce Young is going to the NFL.
No, after the NFL, after your regular college season is over, Chris. The other games are everybody doesn't play those. There could be. Hold on.
But now you're giving me something to play for.
No, I'm trying
a championship.
No, but I'm trying to give you the point of there could be NFL players on teams that are 13th, 14th, 15th ranked that aren't going to play in that tournament. And
there will be. Of course.
Those players will be like, I'm not playing. Okay, because I don't.
Well, they won't make it. It's only 12
No,
teams
I understand,
that'll make
but
it.
I'm saying they're not playing because they've played their regular season. They have their draft stock. There's no reason to play another game once that draft stock is determined. It's not determined in the postseason. It's determined after the regular season. That's when you know where your slot is and where you think you're going to go. And that's why people choose not to play those games.
Well,
in the
you've only
postseason.
had a handful of kids choose not to play.
I'm just saying.
And in most cases, those are bowl games where they're not in the mix for a national championship. Like, if that's the point, I'm now in the mix for a national championship. That means something.
I think only in
especially now I'm getting NIL money.
Yeah,
I'm getting money.
Yeah, but that ain't enough money to lose your NFL career over playing in some game where you wind up being fired. I'm just saying, I would have to think about the circumstance, look at everything, and then make a decision. That's all. I'm not saying it's an automatic no, but I would think about it.
If that's the logic, then after game 5 or 6, I might as well sit.
We've seen
I've been
NBA,
killing
we've
it.
seen,
I've been
seen
killing it for 2 months.
That,
I'm
Chris.
out now.
Who?
I've already established myself.
Didn't
as
Ben
a great
Simmons
player.
stop playing at LSU? He
did.
Okay.
I mean, it was for all types of reasons.
No, but
still,
he stopped playing. He was like, okay, I'm gonna be a top pick.
Why don't kids do that?
They might start doing that. Depending, they might. They might.
I mean, then what do you need college sports for? I mean, if that's the point,
Chris, if somebody told you you're going to be the number 1 drafted quarterback or number 1 drafted running back or wide receiver, and this is after game, I don't know, 7 or 8, you're now projected.
They would have to wait that long?
No,
game
whatever
7
it is.
Or 8,
whatever it is, you put up some
4.
big numbers, and then you just decide, you know what, I don't know if I really want to play anymore. I might just sit it out and wait, and I'll train and get ready for the draft. I'm just saying.
No, I think that's always a possibility. My point is that's a possibility in the regular season too. It really is. I mean, it really is. So I think most kids would think we got a chance to win the championship if they're in those 12 and they would play. But